Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of The FrEEK Show. And I have a special guest with me today. We have Bill, aka the Antagonist Fury.
Thanks for having me, Munk. Appreciate it.
No problem. Moose, unfortunately, couldn't make it today, so Bill was kind enough to be able to step in here for us.
You know.
Now, before we actually get into the topic at hand, I do want to ask you, how much do you actually know about, like, paranormal stuff and horror genre, stuff like that?
I wouldn't say I know a lot about it, but I do find it interesting. I do watch a lot of those shows. Just you kind of get sucked in to these shows with like mediums or just paranormal stories, ghost hunting type shows. Even though on some level I find them silly, I'm still fascinated by the topic, even though I don't believe in ghosts necessarily.
Today, you should be. Today, we are going to be talking about the Enfield Poltergeist Haunting. Are you familiar with this?
Not familiar.
Have you ever seen the Conjuring 2?
No.
No?
I need to watch the Conjuring movies. I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Did you watch our GhostWatch episode?
Your GhostWatch episode?
Yes, the FrEEK Show.
No. I saw the one with the lady on the road and La Llorona, but I have not seen that one yet.
Gotcha. Well, both of those are actually very loosely based off of this actual poltergeist happening that happened in the 70s in Enfield, England.
Tell me a story, Uncle Munk.
Oh, I'll tell you a story, child. All right, so the Hodgson family lived in Enfield, England. The family consists of Peggy, the mother, Margaret and Janet, who were 12 and 11 years old, and the two young boys, Johnny, who was 10, and Billy, who was 7. Mr. Hodgson had actually left the family the year before, so needless to say, Peggy kind of had her hands full. Although Johnny was apparently usually away at boarding school. So, we're not going to talk about Johnny.
Okay. Fuck Johnny.
Alright, so at the end of August in 1977, strange things started taking place in the townhome that they lived in. It all started one night when Peggy had heard noises coming from the room that Janet and Billy were sharing. She heard strange shuffling noises, and after repeatedly telling them to quiet down and go to bed, she finally went into the room. The children told the mother that the sound wasn't coming from them, but from a chair in the room that was by Janet's bed. Mrs. Hodgson took the chair and brought it downstairs. Problem solved then, right? The noises, however, continued. She went back in the room to tell them to stop again, but she could see that the children weren't doing anything, but the sound continued. Next thing they knew, a dresser started to move on its own towards the door as if to block them in.
I'm sorry, the what moved? The chair?
The dresser.
The dresser.
The dresser
Holy crap.
moved.
Okay.
Mrs. Hodgson moved the dresser back, not once, but twice, and then upon the third time of trying, she found herself unable to. She could not push this dresser again.
Dude.
Like something was stopping her from moving it back. The mother took all the children and brought them downstairs.
Yeah.
Then the knocking started. So the family heard the knocking coming from all the walls in the house. Peggy noticed that the neighbors' lights were on, so she took the kids next door over to the Nottinghams. She asked Mr. Nottingham if he was hammering or something, to which he replied no. The family told the neighbors what was going on with all the knocking. Now, Mr. Nottingham was a burly construction worker. Like, this dude worked on roofs. Like, he was a big guy.
Okay.
He went next door to see if he could figure out just like what the knocking was coming from. He recalls walking through the home, listening to the knocking sound, which seemed to follow him around the house. He couldn't figure out the source of the knocking, so he did what anyone would do. He called the police.
Okay, smart. These people aren't dumb so far. I'm going to give them that. She's like, come on, kids, we're getting the hell out of here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just like, nope, I have no idea. We're calling the police.
Yeah.
So,
I like it.
2 police officers showed up, super skeptical at first, right? But soon after entering the home, they started hearing the knocking as well. And they go and they say that once again it seemed to follow them throughout the house. At some point, an armchair suddenly moved 3 to 4 feet across the living room floor. One of the police officers, although frightened, investigated the chair, looking for some kind of wire or string, something that could have moved it, but she didn't find anything. She even picked up a marble off the floor and set it down where the chair was to see if maybe by some chance like the floor was just uneven and the chair moved, as unlikely as that is.
Sure.
But the marble stayed in place. It didn't move. The police left saying there was no criminal activity, so there was nothing that they could do besides file a report.
I like that. There's no criminal activity here. We're out of here.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just a case of
no crime.
Like, peace, deuces, we out.
Yeah, exactly. No crime, not on my time. No. You're on your own, lady. Wow.
Yeah. So the activity started to amp up a bit. The repetitive knocking, toys and small objects flying around the house on their own accord. They had gotten the idea to try going to the press with it. Maybe someone would read the story or hear it and they'll come to help. So they phoned up the Daily Mirror, which was...
quality paper.
It actually was, believe it or not.
At the time? Okay.
It was in
Maybe
the
I'm
UK.
thinking the Daily Mail.
Maybe.
The Daily Mail's like a rag, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, okay.
And at first, the people there thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
Like they were seriously told, yeah, call back when the pubs close. And they did. They called back after the pubs closed. And they're like, are you guys drunk or what? And they're like, no, we haven't been drinking anything. The police were even out here and they saw it happen and they just left because there was nothing that they could do. So they sent a team out to check out the place. The team of 2, including Graham Morris, went into the house but witnessed nothing strange. Graham Morris was a photographer. I forget the name of the actual journalist that went in with him. I don't think it was actually mentioned anywhere. So they went in. They didn't see anything weird. At first. They were getting the car packed up, and they were getting ready to leave, when they heard screaming coming from inside. Someone, either Peggy, her brother, or Mr. Nottingham, I've seen it say all 3. But somebody came out there, saying, come back inside, quickly, things are flying across the room. The pair of journalists went inside to see Legos and marbles flying around the room. Graham had backed himself into a corner and just started snapping away with his camera.
Good. Oh, do we have pictures?
Of that...
Oh, you're scrolling. Okay.
Yeah, I'm scrolling.
Okay.
Unfortunately...
I thought you were sending me a link.
No, not yet. Alright, he states that from where he was, he purposely put himself into the corner so that he can observe everybody in the room. And nobody was throwing anything.
Right.
A Lego brick even hit Graham just above his right eye. It would leave a mark for a few days. That's how hard this thing hit him.
Oh, wow. It's a Lego, yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
And Mr. Nottingham actually goes and reports being hit in the elbow with one too. So hard that it left a mark for a few days.
Wow. High-speed Lego.
Yep. However, upon getting the film developed, he saw that they were normal. None of the objects flying around has shown up in the pictures. Like when you said... I don't have a joke
for this.
I know, it's weird, right?
It's just odd.
I know that you asked about pictures, but there unfortunately are no pictures of that.
There are pictures of a room.
Well, yeah. But none of them are even available to view.
Right.
Like, they're just not.
But if I understood correctly, his pictures came out, and all it was just the regular room.
Yeah, and
Nothing
like
flying.
people
standing there,
being scared.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
But of course, that's going to lead people to believe this is all just them looking for attention, probably, right?
Well, here's the thing, though, is that the police, like, I don't have the clip lined up for you, but I actually have a clip from the police officers, from the news.
It came off the floor, or nearly a half inch, I should say, and I saw it slide off to the right, about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to rest. I checked to see whether or not it could possibly have slid along the floor. I placed a marble on the floor to see whether or not the marble would go in the same direction as the chair did, and it didn't roll at all. I checked for wires under the cushion of the chair, and I could find no explanation at all.
Well, that's good. I'm glad she backed him up and didn't wuss out.
And then
to save her job.
Also, the journalists, they were like, "No, something's really going on here."
That's good.
So next, the family decided to contact the Society for Psychical Research, and a new member by the name of Maurice Gross was eager to jump on the case. So he immediately started witnessing the events that were occurring. He wasn't sure what to do, so he called for backup, and Leon Playfair, who was a poltergeist expert, he came out to the house as well. And I don't have this actually in my notes or anything, but within a lot of the research, when they told the family that they thought that it was a poltergeist, the family was just like, "What the hell is that?"
Right.
Like they never,
Let me tell you,
never
I am
heard
the
of
poltergeist expert.
But like they were like, literally, the word poltergeist derives from German, which means noisy spirit. And he said that at first the girls, like the kids, were calling it poker dice. Poker dice. Yeah, Maury said that he had to go and actually explain to them how to say poltergeist. I do want to throw that out there because there is a theory that like everything's fake, but like they had never even heard of that term.
Right.
So
I mean, yeah, that theory's got to be out there.
Oh yeah,
it just feels so fantastical, right? So you're gonna have a segment. That's
just wait.
Yeah. Huh?
We'll get into that a little bit.
Don't get ahead of you. Gotcha.
Exactly. So the activity started to amplify. One day, they heard a barking sound. They noticed that it was coming from Janet's direction, yet her mouth was not moving. Maurice started recording this, and he was trying to communicate with it. He had previously communicated with the spirits through knocking. Knock twice for yes, once for no. But this time he was just like, "If you can make that sound, you can say my name. Say Maurice Gross." And then they heard a gruff voice go and say, "Maurice Gross." I don't have that audio lined up to show you, but I do have some other stuff to show you.
That's amazing. Now, was he just saying his last name, or was it a comment on what Maurice looked like? Maurice. Gross.
Gross. Ew. That mustache.
Gross. Yeah.
Ask the same question as I asked earlier. How many voices are there?
600.
600 the voices.
I know the joke.
What the fuck?
Sorry. How many really
No. Feel free to swear.
So
we
far,
swear
I've had
here.
10.
Right.
Okay, I gotta pause there. Is this kid like speaking in tongues right now? It sounds like its voice is coming from this kid. 600 voices, he says.
The
sensible voices.
voice is coming from the kid.
But the rest of the names are absolute rubbish.
Like from the general
Dude.
direction.
Dude, the end of that, he like growled like Zool from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know.
That's creepy as shit.
Isn't it though?
So like, it's like this poltergeist basically just spoke through this kid, is what it seemed like.
Let's continue.
Okay.
They soon
Now it's
began
gotta-
to have full-on conversations with these voices, which would not only come from Janet, although it was usually her, but also from Margaret, which was the older sister. The voices said that there was multiple spirits there and would often switch back and forth between entities. They
Wow.
even had one spirit say his name was Bill Wilkinson, who had died in the house after suffering a hemorrhage and passed away in a chair downstairs in the living room. This was later confirmed by Bill Wilkinson's son. He heard
Wow,
about it, he
okay.
contacted them, and he was just like, yeah, my dad used to live in the house. He died. He had a hemorrhage.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, so this is the kind of thing, just to go back to that show I was talking about, Dead Files, the kind of thing they would do. The detective would go find stuff like that out, and she would hear it directly from the ghosts or whatever she sees in her
Yeah,
visions, and they would compare notes.
They definitely found out about it, like doing research on the house. Like after that, they found out that Bill Wilkinson had died in the house, but there was no record that it was like due to a hemorrhage and that he passed away in the chair downstairs.
Right. But they confirmed that with the son.
Yes.
So, and the son would know.
Yes. So
Crazy.
Gross had even performed a test where he had Janet put water in her mouth and he taped it shut. And the voice was still coming from her. When they were done, they took off the tape and Janet spit out the water.
Wow. Full ventriloquist act.
That's one of the theories.
Or at least, yeah, I bet it is, right? But, what is she like? Do we know how old she is at the
11.
time? I was going to say, she looks like maybe 11, 12. Yeah, I mean, there aren't very many 11-year-old pro ventriloquists, so I don't think that's
Plus,
really a
not
viable
to
theory.
mention... Plus, I do want to also go and mention that it wasn't just Janet, but it was Margaret too. So how are you going to tell me that two kids are pulling off the same exact ventriloquism act?
Right. Yeah,
So,
unlikely.
in addition to the knocking on walls, flying in objects, and the voices, Janet was now levitating and being thrown across the room.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you a couple pictures here.
Shit.
Okay, so the photographer Graham Norris, before I start sending these,
Okay.
he set up a camera in the room. And then, he left the room or went downstairs or whatever. He said that it would capture 4 frames a second. So,
High tech.
for the time, yeah.
Yeah.
But it would go and, every 4th of a second it took a picture. And here's one picture of a pillow that was just kind of thrown across the bed, thrown across the room.
Oh. Yeah.
And you can see both of the kids are laying down still. If it was done that quickly, that would have had to been really, really quick. Because one moment it's not there, next second it is there.
Is there a second picture, right after or right before?
No, not that I was able to find.
Okay, just playing devil's advocate, right? Because it kind of looks
yeah.
like it could be hanging on the side barely of the bed, because I can't kind of figure out the depth of the pillow between the. So it kind of looks like it could just be hanging there, but it's also almost completely upright.
Mm-hmm.
So it also seems unlikely that it would stay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It literally
it'd be nice
looks
if they
like
had the before and the after shot too.
I'm sure that they exist somewhere out there. And with this picture,
Should I open the next one? Or
yes,
wait.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. So excited. Oh, there she goes. Okay.
Now with this one, there are multiple pictures of it. However, it does almost appear that she might have been jumping off the bed. When they go and put all the pictures together. She was also known to actually be very athletic.
Right. Yeah,
so
she
it
could
is always a
easily be jumping.
possibility. She claims it's not the case at all.
Okay. Can we take a moment to admire all the '60s and '70s icons posters they have on their walls. I can't name them all, but clearly they used to pick up Tiger Beat or something.
Oh yeah.
And put all the posters on the wall.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Most definitely. I'm pretty sure I even read about that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
Farrah Fawcett. It's hard to tell. Okay.
Janet even recalls one instance where a curtain wrapped itself around her neck, and her mother had to fight to take it off.
That's not cool.
They even tested her with devices that would measure where the sounds were coming from exactly, and they discovered that they weren't coming from Janet's larynx, like how it would be like if you were to normally talk, but it was actually coming from the false vocal cords, which are usually activated when you start to lose your voice.
Oh.
They found this peculiar not only because of where it was coming from, but the amount of time that they would conversate with these voices. It was reported to happen for up to 3 hours at a time.
God damn.
Janet wouldn't suffer at all from it. Obviously, if you're going in like using like that, like you're gonna get hoarse. Like you'll end up coughing. None of that ever came from her. Like you heard her in that interview, like she just started talking.
Right. Do we know if, and this may not even be relevant to the story, but do we know if during those time periods, if Janet was aware of her speaking these things?
Yes.
Was she part of the conversation?
She was aware of everything that was being said. The way that she describes it is that it felt like somebody was like grabbing hold of the back of her neck, and that's where the voices were coming from.
So she was the ventriloquist dummy.
Pretty much. Kind of the way that it sounds like, doesn't it?
Yeah. Creepy. Okay.
All right. Now, I feel like I should mention that there's been some evidence that the children were making at least some of the stuff up. They caught pictures of them bending spoons by hand. They caught Janet knocking on the walls and the ceiling with a broom. One day they told Maurice that as he came into the house that the ghost has stolen his tape recorder, and after finding it, Maurice listened to the tape, which had been recording the whole time, to discover the voices of the girl saying, "We'll pull a prank on him and hide it and say it was the ghost."
Right.
Even Graham Morris, the photographer, who had been actively at the home, like he recalls going there multiple times. Like he even like was helping the kids with their homework and stuff like that. Even he started getting some, like when he got questionable pictures, and then he started to doubt some things, especially when the voices started. When the voices started, he was just like, okay, this is a little much.
It's a hard thing to swallow. Yeah.
So Janet and Margaret admitted to faking some things just to see if they would be caught, and they said that they always were. They faked maybe 2% of the happenings in the house.
According to them.
According to them.
Yeah.
Janet ended up going to a psychiatric hospital for 3 months, where they said she was fine. There was no sign of delusions or Tourette's, which was another common theory for the voices and for the barking.
Oh, okay.
While she was away, however, the instances did not stop. They just changed focus points to Margaret. So a lot of it started happening around Margaret at that point, including more of the voices coming from Margaret.
Now, is she the older one I saw in that video? Or was that Mom? That was Margaret? Okay.
That was Margaret.
So she's quite a bit older.
Yes.
Like.
Okay. I have written down here that she was 12, but I was hearing in other things that she was 14.
Yeah, she looked much closer to 14 to me, but
yeah.
She could have just been really tall, I guess.
The story started making its way not only around the country, but across the world. Ed and Lorraine Warren, U.S. famous demonologist and clairvoyant. Lorraine is clairvoyant. If you watch the Conjuring movies,
okay,
it focuses around them, pretty much.
Oh, nice.
It focuses both around them and around like the actual hauntings that's going on. Okay. Lorraine was a clairvoyant, but they were both demonologists. Okay. I guess Ed was even one of the only people ever to to be recognized by the Catholic Church as a demonologist who wasn't already ordained.
Okay.
But yeah, they heard the story and knew that they had to go there to try and help the family. The Warrens witnessed all the events firsthand, and I even have a tape recording. I have a clip from a tape recording that Ed Warren did. Now, before you open it, I do have to warn you and warn our viewers that the Warrens advise to watch this with caution, or listen to this with caution, because just listening to it and hearing it, it can invite demons in.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, it's really on you. Those of you who are at home, if you don't want to hear it, turn down the volume until we get past this part.
Okay.
A little bit smash. You naughty dog. Naughty dog. Smack, smack, smack. Hit, hit, hit. In the harness.
Is there who else is here, Fred?
Batman.
Batman.
Can we hear
Say it
it?
again.
Can we hear it?
Can we hear him then?
Hello there, Poppy.
Who's this?
Batman.
Who are you?
Batman.
Butterman? What do you do, Butterman?
I don't think he's saying Butterman. Almost done. Okay. So it was kind of hard to make stuff out, but that was pretty creepy. It sounded like they're talking about like a dog and puppies. But
it could
at
have
the
been
end,
because of the barking, but
yeah, I thought they kept saying the words like
Butterman
I'm
or
a dog.
Betterman or
At the end,
I'm not sure. If you go and listen to like the whole thing, you can find the whole 25-minute recording on YouTube.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
wow.
I just grabbed that little clip from it.
So what I thought it heard, and just to be even extra creepy, is at the end they said, "Who are you?" Because I guess he was saying there's a lot of people in there that asked, "Well, who are you?" And when they thought that he was saying Butterman, I thought he was saying Baphomet. And you said this invites demons, right?
Yeah.
It isn't Baphomet
apparently, yeah.
pretty famous demon?
Yeah.
So that's
but
what
I
I'm
mean, there's
choosing to
another
believe.
part that was before that was like the entity was saying that it was a soldier, and he was just like, "What kind of soldier were you?" And it sounded like they said chipmunk. Like the family had to do a lot of like translating, pretty much.
Yeah,
like
pulling teeth.
Yeah. So, like I said, the Warrens ended up witnessing all the events firsthand. They got the recording. They ended up stating that what the family needed was for a priest to come out and bless the house and the family. They needed an exorcism. In December of 1978, so over a year later, from the time that the instances first started occurring, I should say, the family finally got an exorcism and the event stopped. There's a lot of debate over whether it was all fake or not. There's even to this day, there's a lot of debate. However, with over 30 eyewitness accounts from people including police officers, journalists, neighbors, families, investigators, delivery men, and even the neighborhood crossing guard / lollipop lady, it is one of the most documented poltergeist cases of all time. One picture I do want to show you as well. I didn't actually have it any areas in it set up for it because I wasn't quite sure where exactly the time frame came in. But one day Janet got really out of control, so they shot her up with Valium. And then within 20 minutes, they heard a loud noise. And they went up to the bedroom and found Janet on top of the dresser, on top of the radio. Like, you can see her in that picture.
Yeah.
They found her like that. She's still out of it. That's 20 minutes after they gave her Valium.
Yeah. So is the radio underneath her body here?
Yes.
Okay, so she is on top of something. Because for a second it looked like she was doing a one-armed, holding her whole body up.
No, they said that actually when they went in
arm.
there, her legs were like one of her legs was actually on the wall, like straight up towards the ceiling.
Yeah, this dude looks like he's holding her leg down almost.
Yeah.
Like she wants to float away. What a trip.
Mm-hmm.
This wall is also plastered with 70s idols.
Everything happened within like 15 months, like from the time that thing started at the end of August of 77 to December of 1978.
That seems like a long time to have that problem.
Yeah. And it got to the point where Janet's grades were suffering. And the school called in the mom, Peggy, to go and talk about it. And she was just like, well, look, here's everything that's going on. And they're like, why don't you move? Which is not the first time she was asked that. All the other times in the past, she said, no, I want to like keep my kids in one home, like their whole lives, like one stable home.
Sure.
But I guess when the school went and suggested it, she told them flat out, we can't afford to move. I'm a single mom.
Yeah. It's not realistic for everyone.
It's not.
And then who's going to buy the haunted house? So
people have moved in there since.
Well, I mean,
one family said that strange things started happening to them. Like, oh, by the way, the mom, Mrs. Hodgson, she lived in that house until the day she died.
Okay.
She stayed in that house. She did not sell it.
Some things had tamped down, though, by then,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But the next family that moved in said that they started experiencing things. And one day it got so bad that one of the kids were like, I can't stay here another night. I can't do it. And they immediately moved out the next day. The last record that I can find of a family living there said that they don't talk about it. The parents know about it, but they don't talk about it. They don't want the kids to know about it. You have yourself moving around? You got your own poltergeist?
Maybe. Did you hear that?
I heard that. It's like
Did you? Yeah, there was some movement downstairs. I think some cardboard boxes were being moved. There are people in my house, so I have an explanation for those noises.
So, what's your take on the Enfield Poltergeist?
Oh man, I like the story. It's very cool. I probably will spend the time watching The Conjuring 2 just because it kind of covers it a little bit, or maybe I'll find a documentary on it.
Loosely based.
Okay,
I'll say that it's loosely based. Like, and not to mention, you said that you're not sure if you've seen the first Conjuring movie.
I'm sorry, which one? The first Conjuring movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was that or Insidious.
So, the thing that I liked a lot about... The thing that I liked a lot about the first Conjuring movie is that the effects in it were actually pretty practical. Like, there was no, like, super CGI shit going on.
Right.
That's where the second movie takes a huge step back.
Oh, okay.
They CGI a lot of stuff in it, and it's just like... Plus, not to mention, the movie goes and makes it look like the Warrens were actually super involved in the case, when in actuality, they were only there for like a day or two.
Yeah, they jumped in at the end.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. They just kind of showed up there at the end. But like they made it look like they were there for a while. And it's just like, no.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to find some sort of documentary on it, or because I'm sure there's somebody had to have done one, right?
Yeah. You can find a bunch of stuff on YouTube if you're interested in looking. I can even send you some full recordings and interviews and stuff like that. But
that would be cool. I do gotta say, I can see why people would doubt it. Mm-hmm. I mean, because kids can be creative, and someone could make up that. She could be making those voices up. But to have a kid go along with a trick like that for that long seems unlikely. I'd be curious to know if the family ever benefited monetarily from the news.
No. Right. They did not. They made zero money on it. And in fact, they actually became kind of a laughing stock. Like,
Yeah.
like
They
I'm
probably
pretty
should have
sure the
tried to make
kids
some
were
money.
making fun of them at school and stuff like that, and like
Yeah.
it did not do them any favors at all. They gained
Right.
nothing by going public with this story,
Right,
aside
well, that's a
from
bummer.
eventually the Warrens showing up and them getting an exorcism.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
I
good
mean,
that worked. They should have made some money off it.
like they might have off of the movie, I don't know, but for the most part, the family doesn't even really like talking about it. Like they will,
I would
they'll
imagine
go
not.
and still talk about it every now and then. Janet actually refused to speak on any of the on any of it until after their mother passed away. I told you that her
man.
mother still lived in the house. She would not talk about it, but she said that she felt used and abused, and
By the poltergeist?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it was just a horrible, horrible time for her. And
Yikes.
like you go and watch interviews with the sisters now and stuff like that, and they're like, look, you can either believe it or not, but for us, this actually happened. We know people are
Right.
going to say that we're faking it. We're used to that, but
Right.
we aren't. This is our story. This is what happened.
Nice. Cool. Well, thanks for telling me a story.
No problem. Thank you for filling in today for Moose. I know that she really appreciates it. She told me to tell you thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. No problem. Anytime. Hashtag miss you, Moose.
That's
But no, I do appreciate it. It was actually, I was really excited to help out, and I was glad that the timing worked out and everything.
yeah, me too.
Yeah,
All right.
I was happy to do it.
All right. And then next week, be sure to tune in because we have another true crime video coming out.
Okay, cool. What I did with the last one is I listened to it in my car because it was so long. It made a good podcast.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I,
I know it was really long, but there wasn't much that I could really like take out. Like there was
No.
just so much information. Like even with this one, like it's going to be kind of tricky keeping it on the shorter side, but
yeah, I talk too much, so it's going to be tough to keep it short.
no, it's fine. There's a lot. I gave a lot of information. I had over 2 pages here. Plus, not to mention all
Yeah,
the little
no.
random bits. I'm like, oh, by the way,
Right.
here.
Yeah. And with something as serious as true crime, you have
Yeah.
to give it the time to do the justice, and you guys
Exactly.
did that.
Thank you.
And it worked out for me because I drive during the day for my job, and so it kept me busy for an hour, so it's good.
Well, glad to hear that. All right.
Yep.
Stay spooky, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.